Hi gang, it's DrBossKey, and today Joe Jason had a question, and I thought I went looking for the answer for this because I did a video sort of on this, but it was in the context of death animations and kind of how to put in frame-based sprite sheets into the particle system and how to leverage that for different things like either death animations and or anything that you want to trigger with a particle system. So his question is, I have a question. So you said that I have to make the flame effect separation. Could I import one and somehow attach it to my character, or do I have to make it in the creator? All right, so I thought I would just jump in and show you what we got going on here. All right, so first off, if I hit the if I'm in runtime at this point, you'll notice that when, let me just pause it. Boop. You'll notice here with my ship that I have this thruster effect that I kind of put on the back end, and this only happens when I'm actually giving movement to my player. And the thing is that this effect, while it is a particle system, this is actually an animated sprite sheet. So first off, what you want to do is you want to go into your game directory. So you want to go into your game directory and you want to go into particles. And here it's called Jet Turbine for us. It's 256 by 256. And show you what that looks like. Basically this. And here we have this kind of this rotating effect bit, and we got essentially the trails that kind of have a nice bit of noise to them. So that's what it is there. You want to save that out into your asset folder, and then what you want to do is you want to come into the level editor, and you want to go into the particle system. You can technically also do this as part of the explosion editor, where you would just add a create a new particle system element, or you could create a new particle system element. But for what we're using, we don't need explosions. This is going to be attached to the player. You can attach this to enemies. You can do these as standalone effects, however you want. You can be relatively creative with it, and the engine is really well suited for you to mix and match things. So okie dokie. So I'm over here. I have the player ship _ engine. So I created a new particle system, and here you can see it's animating here. And so all you do is you come in here. You want to change your color over lifetime, unless you want it to have color. So you want to change this to white. You also don't necessarily want to change over time. You could. It's all aesthetics at this point. You can play with your scale ranges here. For my case, I wanted to make it a 2D effect, so it forces that particle stay in a plane, so it doesn't go into the background or in the foreground. Not that the effect is really set up for that, but that's one thing you want to check. You come over into particles, you hook up the texture. So this is the texture we just talked about, the sprite sheet. So Jet Turbine. Make sure you set your columns and rows to the amount of columns and rows you have. And then animation. So here's the thing: is you can set it to duration as the particle, it's particle life. So, or you can set duration manually. So, and if you set it manually, then what will happen is that you'll be able to make it go faster or a little bit slower as it iterates through, and it will stay alive for that duration. But if you have it set to duration as particle life, then this will continue to. What will happen is that it'll play through the animation sheet once, and then it'll play it again. I'll show you the other bits here. So tweak and tune your size, your life min max. I kept this very short because we wanted to, when the player ship comes to a stop, to have the particle effect not play, and then when we start moving, we want it to play pretty quickly. So and then I wanted them to trigger quite often without having to stack. So then you come over here. So I set it to local space, which is the particles affected to its emitter. So if the emitter moves, the particle will follow the emitter. So that was important because we wanted to follow the ship in this case. And then shape, you can set it to whatever you prefer there. So emission, I set it to constant, and I set it to infinite. So I just want it when it's triggering to trigger. I set my emission rate to 10. I can actually turn that down quite a bit. Also max particles, I can turn it down quite a bit too, and probably get optimizations out of that. I just haven't gone back to do that yet. And then this is the important part here as well. So you want to make sure that emission direction, these are all 0 by default. I believe it's like -1. which means that when the particle spawns, it doesn't go anywhere. But normally you can use the particle system to have this. But in this case, we want it to always be exactly in the space. Again, it's all preferences. Don't let this overwhelm you. It's all just parameters. It's super easy to make a change, see what your particle does. Go back in the editor. It's very, very fast. Super, super cool. I love it. And then we also, we didn't want to have any spread. We didn't want to have velocity min or max, so that we don't want the particles when they spawn to go any directions. And that's pretty much it. So, and then if you flip back over, so we go into the player object in my case here. So, and you go over to the particle system. So here, you want to basically choose your particle system, and I want to make sure I don't mess up my engine glows because I have a few particle systems attached to it. All right. So, and you can see here, for instance, right, I have, let me go into this. So here, so you can see I have these little particles here that are for the engine sort of exhaust. And I always want those, even when the ship is idle, it's not moving. I wanted that to have a little bit of noise here. A little bit of noise on the back end of the thrusters as well, so that gives it just a little bit of character. And then here we have this half transparent dome for the basically the command deck, right? And I wanted to have a little bit of noise. I don't know why it looks like a disco rave in this thing, but I like that it gives it just a tiny bit of noise there. And then if you go back over. So that's what those are. So in those cases, right, I have it set to all the time. Also, you can set a scale here if you like as well to kind of get your scaling parameters to match. And then under player ship engine, that's not the one. Is it engine glow? Engine glow. Particle system, player ship engine. Okay, so that is correct. So, engine glow. Okay, yeah, so then this is where the particle actually, yeah, because that was right. Let me just double check. Let me double check. Player ship engine. Player ship engine. Okay, so you just make sure you hook up your particle, you create your particle system with your Sprite sheet. You hook it up to that particle system you created, right? And then you want to, depending on what you want, you can set it up to where it only happens when moving, or it happens all the time. And that's it. I hope that helps you kind of get a good sense for what you can do. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Thanks everybody for watching and subscribing and just being part of the community. It's super fun making these types of games. It's a huge and very blessed passion that I've been able to chase, and no short shout outs to Sunny and the development team that's been working on this wonderful Shmup creator tool. And you know, it helps so many people realize this classic style of game, and it's a fantastic engine. So, all right, we'll see you next time. Bye.